And as of 2017, it was 405 parts per million. What do those numbers mean? We'll put it this way. That 405 parts per million is the highest in recorded history in ice core records, dating all the way back 800,000 years. Half of all the carbon emissions that we have put in the air as a society have happened in the last 30 years. In 2018, the UN scientists issued a report, and they basically said, we have to get on this problem. If we'd gotten on it earlier, it would have been easy. If we started in 1979, we could have cut a little bit every year, or if we started in 1989 or 1999, but we didn't, and now we're here. That's the project we've been tasked with by the Earth that we inhabit. There is an urgency felt like never before in a rising generation of Americans and across the world who realize that the clock is ticking and getting close to running out.
We are facing the biggest crisis humanity has ever faced. If your house is on fire, you don't sit down and talk. I want people to panic.
You say you love your children above all else, and yet you are stealing their future in front of their very eyes.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you are doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions.
We are dealing with what the scientific community tells us is the great crisis facing our planet and facing humanity, climate change. It is absolutely imperative that we get our act together on this issue and that countries throughout the world stand up and take on the fossil fuel industry and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. The fossil fuel industry has been spending huge amounts of money trying to defeat those initiatives. The vast majority of members of Congress, in fact, take contributions from the fossil fuel industry. Not only can we effectively combat climate change, but in the process, we can do good economics and create millions of good-paying jobs here and throughout the world.
The only way we are going to get out of this situation is by choosing to be courageous. When we think about where we were when the New Deal was established, we were a nation in depression, in Great Depression. We were a nation on the brink of war. We saw the rise of fascism creeping across in Europe, and no one would thought that a nation so poor, so scarce, and so in such dire straits as we were in that time could pursue such a bold economic agenda. But we chose to do it anyway. We had the courage to do it anyway. And that is what this moment demands of us right now. This is going to be the great society, the moonshot, the civil rights movement of our generation. That is the scale, the ambition that this movement is going to require. If another country came in and bombed our mountains and poisoned our water, we would go to war. And we cannot allow that level of disrespect of our people and of our land to continue. When it comes to the economics of it, we can put so many people to work. There is no shortage of work to do, but we need to decide to do it. The good news is that we're not starting from scratch. There's a lot of work that has already been done, but it needs to be consolidated and brought under the tent of a Green New Deal. When we try to solve this issue piecemeal, we are not going to get it solved in time.
To think that we have time is such a privileged and removed from reality attitude that we cannot.
The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
The Green New Deal is the bold kind of action we need today, and we cannot wait.